All right, peace, black family. So recently, a brother sent me a video on YouTube that he wanted me to watch, and it was a movie called Sarraounia, and it's based on a woman who leads a village up against the French army who was coming to colonize her portion of Africa. Now, I don't want to give the whole movie away because I want you to actually go and watch the movie. So, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be breaking down scenes in the movie that was very instrumental, right? Things that you should watch out for in the movie, right? And so again, like I said, it's based on, the 1800s when Europeans, specifically the French, were coming in to colonize places like the Congo and Chad and, all those places, right? And so one of the first scenes I want to go to is a scene where you had Africans coming to enslave other Africans. And so this is the narrative that we often get when you have the European version of Africans, enslaved Africans. The reason why this part stuck out to me is because in history, the European version, they never mentioned that the Africans that were coming to enslave other Africans were Muslimized Africans, right? These were Africans who already had put in treaties with the Arabs, right? And these were mixed race, mixed race people who had Arab blood in them. And when I say Arab, I mean Middle Eastern people, the people we call Middle Eastern now, right? Because the slave trade in Eastern Africa had been taking place 1,500 years before a European even stepped foot on the continent of Africa. And so it was the Muslimized Africans who were coming in to enslave other Africans for the Europeans because they didn't see themselves as African. They put Allah before everything else. So they were enslaving the native Africans. I also want to shoot to this scene where you have, matter of fact, I'll just run the scene.
Vivi France, vivi France, du beau pays de France, du beau pays de France. Nous, enfants de France, nous contents beaucoup. France est belle, France est belle, il y a belle pour nous, il y a belle pour nous.
And so there you go. You have Muslimized Africans, right, who don't see themselves as African, who put Allah before everything. You have French loyalist Africans who don't see themselves as African. They think that France is their homeland. This was a huge brainwashing. So when they talk about Africans enslaved other Africans, these weren't Africans. These were people who had African phenotypes. They didn't believe in the African gods. They didn't believe in their ancestors. They believed in Allah and France, So you can even go to a scene in the movie where you had it was a Muslim meeting.
Dilsane julɓe hannden ndenta e halkugol heeferɓe wonɓe keerol leydi men ɓe tilsana woodani en hannden e wallude haɓeteeɓe faa kalka gandal e doole heeferɓe ɓe dow hiila e cuccukka eɗen kaani nelde hakkillante gooto jowtana en reneɓe anniyiɓe habde e Sarraounia o haaju mawɗo gite mbawa uddede e muɗum taweede hakkunde julde ɓuri hettinade jante mum.
And that's just what it is. Now, I also want to move on to this part because, again, you know, we have black feminists, and I'm specifically speaking to black feminists who, you know, portray black men to be the worstest thing on the planet. But what they fail to realize is that black men, African men, prior to colonization, prior to the enslavement of our people, did not treat their women the way that they treat their women now. African women, black women, were viewed as gods in African culture. It was not until white Zaddy came along with his female hating behind and ingrained that into some of our cultures, and they have ingrained that way of thinking. Matter of fact, check this scene out.
C'est de l'intoxication, il veut nous faire peur, le salaud. Allez, Oust, debout, Biquette. Tâche moyen de laver ton derrière, demande miam miam au boy. Allez!
And there you go. You have African men, so-called black men, being taught to treat their women the way Europeans treat women in general. That is what you call double consciousness. We are Africans, but we have European minds. And so we must reject anything European to get back to loving and worshiping our women. And you have a lot of black women who have white women's minds, okay? This is a very important scene in the movie that I want people to really internalize, right? There's a scene where the captain of the French army is walking with his lieutenant.
Il n'a rien compris à la psychologie des nègres. Rien. Rien. Pour eux, la Sarraounia est un mythe, une force infernale nantie de tous les pouvoirs magiques. Traverser le pays sans la soumettre serait la plus grande victoire des nègres sur les blancs. Une perte de prestige considérable pour les Européens. Même les rois clés soumis se révolteraient contre l'autorité française. Voilà pourquoi nous devons briser toute résistance sur notre parcours. Pacifier le plus petit hameau. La moindre parcelle d'autorité nègre doit être soumise à la France. Puis les putains d'anglais ont trop tendance à considérer tous les Haoussas comme leurs sujets. Ça les fera réfléchir un peu. Ajoutons que cette sorcière est sans foi ni loi, qu'elle échappe à l'emprise de l'islam. En soumettant la région à la France, nous rendons un distingué service à la chrétienté. C'est à voir.
So this is what these Europeans did. They understood by colonizing our religion, they can colonize our minds. And by colonizing our minds, they colonize our bodies. They had to destroy our faith in what we believed in. Now, to add on to that, there's another scene that takes place in the movie, right? Run that scene.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Il y en a fou. Et il y en a complètement fou.
Il y en a fou. Qui?
Tirailleur, mon capitaine là. Tirailleur avec les mousseaux. Capitaine, tu vas perdre la tête. Dis tuer tout le monde. Dis complètement sorcelé.
C'est une histoire de sorcier. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce bordel?
Capitaine, tu m'aurais trouvé le sous à mousseau. Moi, tu es lui. Moi, c'est insulté honneur, moi. Moi, tu es lui complètement.
Moment, qu'est-ce qui se passe au juste?
Moi, revenu mission reconnaissance. Moi, trouver lui que mousseau pour moi. Lui doit payer moi ça. 100 francs.
D'accord, mais où est la femme?
Parti. Parti. Femme foula, il y en a bordel beaucoup. Toujours niqué, toujours niqué. Lui courir la brousse. Faut que moi trouve lui. Pour moi, il y a trop honte beaucoup.
C'est fini maintenant. Tu as puni le coupable et la femme a disparu.
Jamais fini. Moi, je dois trouver femme là. Il y a chaud pour son derrière. Moi, payer l'argent et beaucoup cola. Elle, même chose esclave pour moi.
Timégo, tu rembourserais ce que tu as dépensé, tu achèteras une autre mousseau. Allez, Macou, rompez. Docteur, voyez s'il est moyen de rafistoler cette andouille. Mais il a perdu assez de sang. Il s'en tirera. Les oreilles en moins, naturellement, hein. Ah, ces nègres. Qu'est-ce qu'ils feraient pas pour une paire de fesses? Allez, viens. Allez, ouste.
Do you hear that? Just a few years ago, before Europeans even came to Africa, women were walking around naked. But they had so socialized the Africans to sexualize themselves, to make themselves over violent, to get them addicted to alcohol, that now the Europeans have now organized our way of thinking to fit their agenda. And now they say, oh, niggers, you know, they'll do anything for a bunch of tits. When before you got here, our women walked around naked. And we never fought over our women. We never did this type of foolishness. The opening scene, you see the little French black guy or whatever he is running up, acting stupid. They literally made us into what they needed us to be to fit their agenda. It goes back to something I always say. You know, I say, are we who we are naturally, or are we who they need us to be? Let me say it again for people who didn't catch what I said. Are we who we are naturally, or are we who they need us to be? They have created us to be a certain type of way. They created us to be that big dumb, oh, soldier, sure, you know, fighting over titties and stuff like that. But before they got to Africa, we weren't acting like that. Before the Arab got there, we weren't acting like that. This is the power of socialization. And also, going back to the feminists, this is a very sensitive portion of this video, and it gets graphic. Not that graphic, but it gets graphic. It gets very eerie. Let's run the scene. And you see that? Notice that the African men who have been bastardized, who have internalized European culture and way of thought, they now take their women and rape their women. But who's standing around watching and laughing? That goes back to the whole puppet master. It goes back to that. They trained us to be a certain type of way. And this behavior still exists in certain parts of Africa. When civil wars pop off in Africa, what are the first thing they do? Burn the villages down, rape the women, stick bayonets up their vaginas, mistreat them. Where did they learn that savage behavior from? From the biggest savage in the world, the white man. But what's saddening about it is that this behavior still persists today in most parts where Africans reside at. So we have to truly kill. And it doesn't matter if you speak an African language. It doesn't matter if you can cook fufu. It doesn't matter if you were born on the continent. If you take on any of these European characteristics, you are an African with a white mind, with a European mind. That goes for Africans in UK, Africans in Haiti, Africans in Jamaica, Africans in America, Africans in South America. It does not matter. If you carry these characteristics, you are a cracker with black skin. We have to remove the colonizer from our mind, because he understood that once he was in our mind, he became our God. And matter of fact, that goes into the next scene I want to show.
Bande de lâches! C'est de ça dont vous avez peur? Hein?
L'idée d'aller vous courir dans un mode merdier pareil. Avez-vous besoin de faire le pic devant ces sauvages? Ou un blanc, sous-officier de l'armée française? Vous n'avez pas compris, Boutel, encore, vous ne comprenez pas que pour eux, nous sommes des dieux, invulnérables et surnaturels venus du ciel pour commander au noir. Vous comprenez ça, Boutel? Ils découvriront que nous sommes des hommes comme eux. Fini le mythe, fini la discipline. Ils ne nous respecteront plus. Vous avez bien choisi votre moment. Je vous plains pas, Boutel.
And there you have it. If you have the chance, watch this movie. It's a very good movie. I'm into subtitle movies. I'll even watch movies in black and white. It doesn't matter because I'm all about the information. Please, side note, if you haven't watched the movie, don't send me the movie or don't send me the clip because I get a lot of people who send me stuff in my DMs and I'm like, have you watched this? And they're like, no, I just want to see what you think about it. I'm not anybody's, lab rat where you can just send me 3-hour documentaries and then I got to watch it and then break the documentary down for you. Shout out to this brother who sent me the movie. I appreciate it. I think this brother actually watched it himself. Very, very good movie. That's why I'm making the video about it. Very fun fact about this movie as well is that this movie was actually funded by Thomas Sankara. Yes, of Guinea Faso. Yes, this movie was funded by him. And so it's a very good movie. Check it out. I didn't want to give too much away, but check it out. Look into it. Until next time, family, think black, stay black, love black, support black, and that's real African black power.